Now, this is NBC6 Breaking News.
And a good morning to you, everybody. We are breaking into your programming on this Wednesday morning to bring you live team coverage of the National Student Walkout.
Yeah, students across the country and right here in South Florida are taking time to walk out of class to honor the 17 lives lost 1 month ago at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. So these are live pictures here from Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. They have begun to walk out, and we are expecting thousands of students across the country to be doing the exact same thing here for 17 minutes. Starting at 10 o'clock, they will be out to show their support here, but also to protest gun reform here.
And one of the interesting things that I think we should definitely be pointing out as we go into this coverage at just about straight up at the top of the hour here, Shelley mentioned 10 o'clock, 17 minutes, 1 minute for each of the lives that were lost at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School 1 month ago today. Today was the day a month ago that we were dealing with this again about 2 o'clock in the afternoon that this all unfolded. And again, all of these things are being sanctioned by the school. Faculty knows about it, law enforcement knows about it, and it is being supported by everyone. And included in those student walkouts, in fact, are some teachers as well. So that being the case, we've got Ari Odzer live. Where you're looking at here is Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. Of course, this is the center point where so much is expected to happen over the course of the next couple of weeks. So let's get you out to Ari with a better idea of what's happening there on the ground. Hi, Ari.
Good morning, Eric. Obviously, 1 month later since the tragedy happened here, so much has happened statewide, nationwide, led by the student movement here at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. Take a look behind me over here, and you can see the sad parade of students walking out onto the football field over here. This is not what they usually come out here for, right? This is a place where people scream and holler and cheer for the football team, for the track team, for the soccer team. They come out here for band concerts. This school is known for its fantastic marching band. And today they're coming out here to pay tribute to their 14 colleagues who were lost, as well as the 3 teachers who lost their lives here 1 month ago. And this movement, as we've been talking about and seeing what's happened, seeing what has happened in the state of Florida with a bill passed for school safety and some modest gun control measures 3 weeks after the tragedy. So quickly it happened because the students and parents were so relentless in their activism in trying to make sure something happened, some small sliver of hope could come from this tragedy. And now we're seeing what's going on here at the school now. The students are following suit. Many of these students are activists for the first time, and a few of them have been national leaders in this Never Again movement. You've seen them all over the network television shows. Here's a sampling of what some of them had to say this morning on the network shows.
A bill passed in one of the most Republican states in America in less than 3 weeks of lobbying and legislative action taken by the students in Marjory Stoneman Douglas. And that's because of our actions and working hard to use our privilege that many other schools haven't had, because there are acts of gun violence everywhere across America. But now, because this has happened at a place of such influence with students that have spoken up since so early in the beginning, we've been able to use our platform.
We've reached out to all corners of the globe, and everybody's banding together and everybody's siding on this, and they're all saying, yeah, this is kind of a problem. This doesn't happen in other countries. I think we can probably change this from happening. I think amendments can be amended in certain ways. I think that this is probably a problem that should be fixed, probably.
This is a movement where people are realizing this is less about Democrats and Republicans. This is more about life and death. And this is more about the safety of our children or money. And people are seeing the corruption here. They're seeing the strings on our politicians who are accepting money from the NRA.
And back live now, I think you're looking at a shot from our helicopter up above Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. You can get a better idea of what it looks like to see more than 3,000 students walking out of class, obviously sanctioned by the school district, to make a statement here in support of their colleagues whose lives were lost. Coming out to the football field, I'm not sure if they're going to spell out anything. I know that some schools later on today are going to do something like that. They're coming out here. They're going to have some speakers. People are going to speak to them. They were testing the audio earlier from the press box. So they're going to be out here once everyone gets out here for 17 minutes, 1 minute for each of the victims, and then they'll be going back inside the school. Now, we have heard also some rumors that some students are going to leave campus. I'm not sure how they're going to do that if they're not signed up by their parents, but Supposedly, some students are going to leave campus and head to a rally at the park around the corner. We're not sure if that's actually going to happen. If it does, we'll be there later to show you what happens there. Eric and Shelley, back to you guys.
Ari, thank you so much. And the Broward County School Superintendent is encouraging students to stay on campus. Ari just mentioned we're not sure exactly whether they will or not. I know it depends on each school. The superintendent sent out a letter to parents basically with guidance, and also to staff members, guidance for the schools on what they can do to make sure that these demonstrations are peaceful and that they're powerful. And that's the ultimate goal here. So you can see that they've made themselves there onto the football field.
Yeah, and again, Shelley, this was very well planned, not just here in Florida, in Parkland, but in fact across the United States in each time zone accordingly. 10 o'clock in the morning for 17 minutes was the plan. And again, the superintendent, staff from these schools, management, teachers, they were all very aware that this is happening and also very supportive. As we were watching these students from Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland march out, you did also see some teachers right along with them. So I think that's an important note. So we mentioned that this is happening obviously in Broward County. This is in Parkland specifically, sort of the center point for all of this, but it is happening across Miami-Dade as well. We've got NBC6 reporter Daryl Forges live right now at Ferguson High School in southwest Miami-Dade. Daryl, give us a better idea of what's happening there behind you.
Well, things are just getting started here, Eric and Shelley. Good morning to the both of you. We just started seeing some students walking out of the high school. I want to kind of, if I can, it's kind of tough, but it's kind of a little further away because we have to be off the property. But if you kind of, Linda, kind of zoom in, you kind of see those students. That's all the students that's getting ready to walk out of the school, and they're going to, if we could pan over to the left, they're coming here to the football field, staying within the confines of the campus. Students here will have posters in hand, walking around, as just said here, for 17 minutes. Now, something cool that they're doing over here, then let's pan over to the left, over here to the end of the track here at Ferguson High School. You can't really tell that much, but there's some ribbons over there. You see students here walking around with posters saying "Pray for Douglas," walking around the track. But also there's some ribbons that will be over there. Each student will be given a ribbon with something written on it, and they will tie it to the fence. Actually, spoke to one of the students just now, Eric and Shelley, and got my hands on one of those ribbons. On one side it says right here, "Fly high, stay strong, rest in peace." And flipping up to the other side, it says, "Legacy through life and solidarity." So that's one way that the people and students here at Ferguson High School are remembering those students at Stoneman Douglas High School. Another thing I want to show you, Eric and Shelley just talked about it. Of course, the faculty, staff, they know about this. One of the big things here is that there's police officers from Miami-Dade School Police Department. They are blocking off this area, making sure no student leaves campus and making sure they are safe. Again, they are aware of the national walkouts. They want to make sure the students are staying safe while they're on campus. Again, there's students walking around the track with posters here at Ferguson High School. So again, that's just one way they're doing things here. A little bit later on, in just a few minutes, they're also going to have some type of program here to talk about a few things going on and also raise more awareness to these students here at Ferguson High School. We're also going to have that coming up for you a little bit later on to show you what the students are doing, as well as the faculty and staff. We'll have that coming up for you just a little bit later on. Eric and Shelley, back to you.
All right, Daryl, thank you so much. And once again, we go back to these live pictures. Chopper 6 is obviously up over the scene. This is in Broward County, Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. And this has been planned for quite some time. On this date, the 1-month anniversary of that shooting happening when 17 lives were taken at that school. Again, legislation passed within 3 weeks of that tragedy. That is something that, for the most part anyway, is unheard of. Very unlikely for that to happen, but in fact, it did happen. You know, gun reform here, student voices have been incredibly clear. These kids have boarded buses with their students and faculty and gone to Tallahassee to fight for what they believe is right, and their voices certainly are being heard, and that includes with this national walkout again today. And again, these are live pictures out of Parkland.
Let's go to Miami-Dade County iPrep Academy, where reporter Steve Litz is there with Alberto Cavallo, the superintendent, and he tweeted something moments ago saying, "Represent us well," and there he is right there, the school superintendent there in Miami-Dade.
A moment of silence now, please.
And you guys caught us here at a pretty sensitive moment. And so they are observing a moment of silence here for the 17 victims that were lost in that shooting. And And just a second before here, one of the student leaders from iPrep Academy here read all the names of the 17 victims. And you're seeing this moment of silence here. Students and staffers hand in hand.
Massacre that took place exactly 1 month
that
ago
moment
today.
of silence is now over. And this is, as we said, iPrep Academy. This is iPrep Academy off Biscayne Boulevard here in downtown. In fact, Superintendent Alberto Carvalho is the principal here. We have one. Here's here. Let's listen to what she said.
Epidemic plaguing our schools and neighborhoods. This issue affects us all personally. As a student teacher for iPrep's elementary speech and debate team, this past week, my students ages 7 to 9 wanted to discuss the issue of gun control. I have never felt so insignificant. How can I assure my students that they are safe when our laws do not protect us? We must urge our elected officials to do more than tweet thoughts and prayers in response to violence. This past Friday, Governor Rick Scott signed Bill 7026 into law. This bill seems a way to quiet down the crowds, but we will not be silenced until adequate and detailed gun reform is passed. In addition to state regulation, Congress must take meaningful action to keep us safe and pass federal gun reform legislation that addresses this crisis as a nation. We want lawmakers and politicians to pay attention and keep in mind that many of us will vote this November, and many others will flood the polls in 2020. We believe students and
all right, so you're getting some of the feeling here as to what's happening at schools, not just here in Miami-Dade County and South Florida, but also nationwide. This is a nationwide movement for students to walk out here at the strike of 10 o'clock, not only to memorialize the 17 people who were lost, the 14 students and the 3 staffers at MSD, but also to raise awareness about gun violence in schools and this movement to ban assault style weapons, and to ban high-capacity magazines. Boy, those cries have come loudest from a lot of the students from MSD, and we have seen that movement now grow even larger and larger. By the way, these events here in Miami-Dade, anyway, not sanctioned by the school district. However, they are tolerating this and they are accommodating students. And you may have seen some video of the superintendent, Alberto Carvalho, was in fact almost led the line out. He had one student in each hand and walked across the street here and into this plaza at iPrep Academy, and he is standing tall with these students, supporting them as he always has every step of the way. And in an interview a little earlier, he did talk about how proud he is of these students. And you have a lot of 17-year-olds, a lot of high schoolers who are taking part in this, and they are going to turn 18 and they will be of voting age. Mr. Carvalho going out of his way to note that, and how these older students, these teenage students, can make a change. But this is the situation, guys, here in downtown Miami at iPrep Academy. I'm sure it's happening all over South Florida. Let's send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Steve, thank you so much. Want to head over to Ari Odzer, who is at Stoneman Douglas High School, where they just went onto the track field there and the football field. Ari.
Yes, Shelley, as we're talking right now, you can possibly hear the music being played behind me. It's a tribute, obviously, to the victims happening right now. All the students are on the field. It's an emotional moment here. And no one's more emotional right now than Gina Fontana. Her niece was killed in this rampage at the school a month ago. How are you holding up in this past month?
It's very, very hard. It's very, very hard. Do not let this happen to your family. Stand up for gun legislation. Do not sit by and do nothing. This is an epidemic that is spreading throughout our country. We need to stop this. We need to be the voice for these kids and for our kids. And you never think this is going to touch you this way. You never think it's going to be your family.
Tell us about your niece and her name and what grade she was in, and all about her, so our audience knows what you lost here.
My niece was a precious, precious child of 14 years old. Her name was Kara Loughran. We're mourning her death every minute of every day, and it is so horrible to have to deal with this. I beg you to stand up with these kids and fight with us to get this gun legislation in the country changed. We need new laws. We need to stand up. There's more of us than there are of them. Write your legislator and don't back down. We've got to stand with these kids.
Are you proud of what these kids have accomplished in the past month, getting some legislation passed in Tallahassee, getting the nation's conscience to focus on school violence, all these violent episodes that have happened?
Yes, I'm very proud of them. These kids are stronger than we are. We adults have let this go on in this country for too long, and these kids are saying enough is enough, enough BS. Like Emma said, we need to start pushing and pushing hard, and we need to call your legislator right now, write a letter right now, go out to a march and fight. We need every single person in this country that believes in new gun legislation to get out and fight now.
You came out here today to support these kids? I mean, is that why you're here? And what do you think when you look out here and you see all these kids out here? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking these kids know their life is on the line. They heard the weapon, and they heard an automatic weapon going off in their school. Their classmates were gunned down. These kids are fighting for their lives, and they're fighting for every child's life in every school throughout this country, and I hope that everyone is going out and marching.
Thank you so much, Gina, for talking to us. When you watch this stuff, is it harder to take, or does it make you feel better that at least something positive in your view is happening in the wake of your niece's death?
I feel positive that something is going to happen, and it's the only thing that you can hold on to at this point. The mourning and the grief is so intense and so hard to know that your niece, your family member was gunned down at school, and that legislators still have not moved that much on this. They've moved a little bit, but we have a long way to go.
Thank you so much for talking to us, having the courage to talk to us after something like this has happened. So back live now, out to what's happening on the field. You can hear that there's music playing. Some words were said by Principal Ty Thompson. We couldn't hear them so well from where we are, the echoing across the field. Obviously words of encouragement and inspiration. And it's still happening here on the field. So they're going to be done pretty soon, and they'll be walking back into class. Earlier, as we said, we heard there was rumors that some of the kids are going to try to leave campus. Not sure if that's still going to happen or if that's going to be sanctioned by the school at all. But we'll be here to see what happens, and we'll bring it to you. Back to you guys in the studio.
Ariadne, I know you can't see these images, but we're looking online, and just what we're seeing from our end, schools very similar here, doing the same exact thing. We're talking in Central Florida, in Atlanta, in the Northeast. So incredibly moving images that we're going to be seeing all morning long here from students doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, and all of those locations that Shelley just mentioned, obviously on the East Coast, so they are on Eastern time, but the same is going to follow suit as we go across the United States, moving west. 10 o'clock in the morning, same situation, a walkout for presumably 17 minutes. And we mentioned this is happening at many, many schools here in South Florida. Let's get you out to Julia Bagg, who is live at Hialeah High School. And Julia, we know that we saw some very, very outspoken students in the days after this shooting happened at this very high school, and safe to imagine the same is happening this morning.
Certainly very vocal last month. I would say a little more muted in what we've seen just as this is beginning, Eric, here in Hialeah. In the last few minutes, let me show you what things are like with students pouring out onto the basketball court and also onto the field this morning. I spoke with the vice president of student government here at Hialeah Senior High, and that vice president told me that she wants this to be about more than just a walkout, more than just an opportunity for students to step out of class. She told me that this is about ending hate, it's about making change, and it's a passion for her. She started an activist group actually after the Parkland shooting and in the weeks following. So what you're seeing here now, the plan is for this to last about 45 minutes, the first 17 minutes in honor of each of those 17 victims who were shot to death a month ago this afternoon, just on the other side of the county line up in northern Broward County in Parkland. So what happened there certainly not lost on these students at all. And one of the main issues, Eric, that they're concerned about here, students tell me, is precisely the safety on this campus. I talked to a sophomore about that this morning. Have a listen to what she has to say about school safety.
The school's not safe. It's not. They're not safe at all. Like, anyone could leave, so anyone could walk in.
The main message is just to end hate and to just spread love towards it all.
So that's Samantha Marone, and she told me the big push here is getting registered. She's 17. She turns 18 next month. She's looking forward to voting this November, and she's also motivating everybody she knows on this campus to do the same. Live in Hialeah, Julia Bagg, NBC6 News.
Disrespect, we do not see it that way. We see
that is Alberto Cavallo, the superintendent for Miami-Dade County, talking right now at iPrep Academy.
Those who lost their lives in Parkland, Florida. A solemn respect to those who lost their lives in Sandy Hook, in Columbine, in Virginia Tech, Pulse, and many more, one at a time, in communities across our great land. Let me close by saying that I appreciate the bold step taken by Florida recently to impose new restrictions on the purchase of guns, to impose age limits, to impose a 3-day waiting period, to allow law enforcement to confiscate weapons from those who are mentally unfit to have them. But we need to do much more. And your voice, your presence, your determination, your courage, and soon enough, your right to vote shall get us there. Thank you very much. I am with you. This school board present here demonstrates the love, the presence, the care they together feel for you. I'd like to recognize that probably we stand as maybe...
All right, you are listening here to Superintendent of Miami-Dade Public Schools, Alberto Cavallo, just saying, sort of in a nutshell, just sort of encompassing his last couple of minutes. Very proud, he says, of the bold steps that has happened in the last 3 weeks. Obviously, he's speaking in so many words about the legislation that was passed, again, 3 weeks after that shooting that happened in Parkland. And certainly we have our reporters fanned out across Broward County and Miami-Dade covering this story for you today.
So let's go to Weston at Cypress Bay High School. Arlene Bornstein, what are you seeing there?
Shelley, the program is still going on. As you can hear, people are applauding what the students are saying. We hear it's mainly people from student government empowering and encouraging students. I'm going to come out here so you can see what's going on. TAPS has just played the junior ROTC, so professional in nature, participating here. 17 balloons representing those 17 victims from Douglas. The message, though, here, no more moments of silence like this. No more kids falling victim to gunmen at school. Enough of these moments like at Douglas. Stricter gun laws. The 4,700 students here at Weston High School having another moment of silence right now. This is the second time they have done this in support of stricter gun laws. It's one thing that the mayor of Weston has told us as they have this moment of silence. We want to share with you that they're going to increase presence at schools, and I'm going to step out so you can see that they are now having this moment of silence here at Cypress Bay High School in Weston. This is the second time that they've walked out since last month. The Weston mayor told us they're going to be increasing security presence at all Weston schools, locking gates so there's only one point of entry. And also they're going to do security checks at all schools to make sure that students are safe and that this doesn't happen again. The message here from students, enough is enough. They've made signs, they're speaking out, and they want the gun laws to be stricter nationwide. That's the very latest here in Weston. Arlene Bornstein, NBC6.
All right, Arlene, thank you so much. We want to take you off to Davie now. This is a specific meeting place, actually. This is going to be in a Walmart parking lot. These live pictures that you're going to be looking at here, we've got Amanda Placencia on the ground there. And from what we understand, Amanda, if you can hear us, they will be walking from Davie to Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School, which is exactly 17 miles. And they'll be making that walk starting right now.
Yes, that's right, Eric. I'm here with these students from NSU University School in Davie. They've gathered here in this Walmart parking lot, and they're part of this nationwide movement, but they're taking it one step further. As you said, they're walking 17 miles north to Marjory Stoneman Douglas, 1 mile for each of those lives lost. And I want to show you what we're seeing here. A lot of students out here gathering, getting ready to make that long trek. They've got their signs up, and this is not just an average ditch day. It's for a cause, and it's been exactly 1 month since this tragedy in Parkland. So these students, they're not letting attention slide. They're making their voices heard, and they won't let lawmakers forget those 17 lives in Parkland. And you just see them out here getting ready to walk. And I actually have Joy, one of the organizers, that's going to talk to us. And just tell me a little bit about your message. What is your main goal here?
Our message is that at the end of the day, this can't happen anymore. It's not just the 17 lives lost, it's the injured that could have been lost, the people that witnessed this that could have been lost, this 20 lives at Sandy Hook 6 years ago. That wasn't enough to change it. Those kids were too young to advocate for themselves, but we're not, and we're not going to back down. We're not going to stop until something happens, because we shouldn't have to go to school fearing for our lives. We shouldn't have to go to a concert fearing for our lives. We should be able to go to these things and feel safe.
It's been a month, you guys applying the pressure. What do you want lawmakers to know from your point of view?
We want lawmakers to know that this is not going to stop. AR-15 style weapons were illegal to manufacture or own until 2004. Nothing was happening then. Columbine, yeah, but besides that, all of this is happening now because of that, all these mass shootings. And we also want them to know that one day we're going to be the ones in their positions. And I think it's pretty clear, all of us here, all of us around South Florida, none of us are going to back down. And when we're in those positions, like, sorry, but your agenda's goodbye.
How much, in terms of, you said you lost a friend as well, so how much has this struck home to you?
This has struck home a lot. Everyone, South Florida, the entire community is so small. Everyone knows someone that lost someone, or everyone has seen the reports. This has hit home with everyone, because as everyone's saying, you don't think it can happen to you until it does. And so, especially Parkland, one of the safest cities, it really struck us, especially my family. So.
Thank you for talking to us, and we're going to be out here with all of these students. They are planning their march, again, 17 miles up north to Marjory Stoneman Douglas. They're applying the pressure, making their voices heard, and we will be with them all day, and they'll be getting up there hopefully this afternoon. So we'll be bringing you that information as we follow them along their route this afternoon. And right now I'm live in Davie. Amanda Placencia, NBC 6 News. Send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Amanda, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And again, she is in the parking lot of the Walmart, which is in Davie, and they will be beginning their march going 17 miles from Davie, that Walmart there, all the way to Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
If you're not in front of your TV, I want you to come to your TV if you can, because this is a pretty powerful image without even having to say a word. You see 17 empty desks. This is actually at Cooper City High School. And what a powerful way to remember those lives lost and to send a message as well. And we are seeing each school remembering these students in a very different way. We also have Darryl Forges, who is at Ferguson High School, where they're doing their own movement. You have these students that Amanda Placencia is speaking to, and there you see, letting out some doves there.
Incredible. And as we watch this, obviously, difficult to count there, but the number 17 is on everybody's minds, whether it be for 17 minutes that they're walking out, 17 miles that they will be marching for, 17 empty desks that we're seeing in this courtyard at Cooper City High School, or 17 doves that we're watching flying over that high school right now. Certainly, their minds are all centrally located, all in one place on this day, this 1 month anniversary of the shootings that happened at that high school in Parkland.
Really captivating in a gripping way to remember those 17 students, and not to mention several other networks and other channels. Nickelodeon, a viewer just sent me, they blacked out for 17 minutes to remember those students. So that's another way that they're being remembered. 1 month to this day was around 2 o'clock, the same time last month when we were bringing you the news for the first time about a gunman going into Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School and opening fire. And not to mention, we don't necessarily want to talk about the suspect at this point, but he is expected to be in court today. The death penalty is supposed to be coming up. So all this is happening outside while court and those proceedings are still going on. So we want to get over to our next reporter here who is out.
Let's get you out to Ari Odzer. Ari is at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland. And Ari, we know that this is a massive student body, more than 3,000 students there. And this walkout has certainly been successful in terms of their point being taken and their voices being heard.
That's correct, Eric. 3,300 students walked out onto the football field. They've all gone back towards their classes except for a handful. A couple of them are standing right next to me. This is Zach. This is Brandon. We have a junior and a senior here. You guys hopped the fence and joined us over here. Why?
Because we want to make a change. We don't want to just stand in the football field and talk for 17 minutes. We want to make a difference. We want to show people that we're going to keep doing this until something changes, and nothing's changing, so we're going to keep doing it until something happens.
What do you think, Brandon?
It was a 17-minute socialization period. The principal's not supposed to come on the intercom and tell you to go outside for a walk here. You're supposed to walk out and make a difference, not stand outside for 17 minutes talking to your friends.
Well, it looked like it was kind of emotional, though. It looked like people were emotional. It looked like people were paying tribute. There was music playing. Did you not find that it was beneficial to just as a healing exercise?
Didn't even notice it.
Wow. And what did you think, Zach?
Never noticed it either. We were just all standing there talking. No one said anything that was happening. People just kept walking. Nothing was happening. They were playing a song. No one knows what's happening. So we just hopped the fence.
So what's the point you're trying to make here now? You said you wanted to keep this going. What is this? You mean the movement to...
The movement to change things, to make laws changes. You know, like nothing's happening right now. So we're going to keep doing this until something happens, and they can't stop us.
Well, you saw what happened last Friday. A law was passed in Florida after 3 weeks of activism from students like yourself. Do you feel like you guys accomplished something?
It's just a start.
Did you feel the same way?
Just need followers.
Need more people to do this?
Yes,
you guys
sir.
planning to go to Washington, too?
My sister is. I'm not going.
You going to do something here, though?
Yeah. I don't know.
So by jumping the fence here, do you feel like it's a bit of civil disobedience almost?
Not necessarily, because...
Constitutional right.
Yeah, it's a right.
Wish more people would have followed. We're going to go to the park and try to make a bigger difference.
Yeah, like, people are all looking at us walking. The whole students, everyone's looking at us, but no one's following because everyone's scared. But they don't know that they can do this.
Well, they're following the rules. So, I mean, let's face it. You can't just jump the fence and leave school without being signed up by your parents. So you guys are technically breaking school policy here.
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's worth it?
It's 100% worth it.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it very much. So you see a little bit of civil disobedience from a couple of students here, feeling they needed to come out here and talk to us and make a bigger statement than just standing on the football field. And you guys are going over now to North Park. Is that it?
Pine Trails.
Pine Trails.
Pine Trails Park?
Yeah, Pine Trails.
That's where all the middle schools are walking.
Okay, that's where all the middle schools. While we were talking here, almost the entire student body from West Glades Middle School, which is right next door, came walking by. The school let them out. There was a sanctioned walkout. The students are being led to Pine Trails Park for a bigger rally. I guess there's an amphitheater over there, and you can have a bigger rally over there of some sort. So we're going to follow this and see what happens. But for now, the walkout period here at Marjory Stoneman Douglas is over. Back to you guys.
All right, Ari, thank you. And off we go to Southwest Miami-Dade. Reporter Daryl Forges live at Ferguson High School there. Hi, Daryl.
Hey, Eric, just about 25 or 30 minutes ago, we showed you the scene earlier as students were just filing in. The program is over now, but I want to show you right now. You kind of see how many students are still out here on the track at Ferguson High School. Now the students are heading back in to classes. Just about, I would say about 5 or 6 minutes ago, they actually had a program here. They had a few speakers, they spoke, and they also had a moment of silence remembering the 17 lives lost at Stoneman Douglas High School. So there you have it. You see the students now walking back in after this walkout is officially over here at Ferguson High School. But Linda, if we can, let's pan over. We showed you earlier the ribbons. We told you about the ribbons they have here that's on the fences here. So you can see how many ribbons there are on the fences there. Just several thousands of ribbons there on the fence. On those ribbons, they have several messages. Like one says, fly high, stay strong, and rest in peace. And another one says, solidarity and legacy through life. So there's a lot of things that the students in their own way are doing here for the students of Stoneman Douglas High School. It's their way of doing things here at Ferguson High. And also, Ari just talked about those students jumping the fence and leaving school campus. To make sure that doesn't happen here, the police department here at Ferguson High School is actually closing off, blocking this area off, blocking off any closed area, any fences or anything. So if any student had an idea of trying to jump the fences or trying to get off the school grounds, there was no way they're going to be able to do it without getting in the hands of a police officer. So, so far it seemed that it was very peaceful. It was very good. A lot of the students here were having posters saying Stoneman Douglas strong, we are with you, and it's just sending positive messages to the students at Stoneman Douglas High. Eric and Shelley, back to you.
Daryl, thank you so much. We are looking live right now at Cooper City High School, where they just released 17 doves, and they also had 17 empty desks representing each life that was lost 1 month ago to this day. Want to get over to Steve Litz, who is at iPrep Academy in Miami-Dade County. Steve, we just heard there from Alberto Cavallo, the superintendent, moments ago.
Not only the superintendent, but also the principal of iPrep Academy. And this rally has been going on here now. This protest has been going on for a good 20, 25 minutes. It was right about 10 o'clock when you had students, actually led by the superintendent. He was hand in hand with a couple of students, walk across from iPrep Academy and then into this courtyard. And I want you to take a look at the crowd that's gathered here. A couple of hundred people here, mostly students. And that's who we have heard from here, mostly students. It was kicked off by a student teacher, The superintendent Carvalho spoke, and this is another student here at iPrep Academy. Let's listen in.
Therefore, as someone who has dealt with a brain tumor for the better part of his life, and as a former member of HIP, it is imperative to demand change not only in weapon policies, but in the implementation of mental health professionals, such as school psychologists as well. Just as teachers flip the switch of our light bulb minds with knowledge, psychologists can provide the help needed to solve the complex equations of hormones and life. In the meantime, all of us, students, parents, teachers, law enforcement, must come together and support one another emotionally, not only in times of urgency, but always. Let me end on the... Oh, good. Let me end on the 3 virtues of the Bionicle series. Through unity, we can complete our duty. And through duty, we can achieve our destiny. That destiny is peace for the future and a world where we all stand united and support each other. Thank you.
I did.
All right, so that was one of the student leaders here at iPrep Academy, one of the very few K through 12 facilities here in Miami-Dade County. So we have heard some heartfelt comments from a lot of students over here, ranging in ages from elementary school up until high school. In fact, some of the most profound words came from a 6th grader. His name was Max over here, talking about how not only he's concerned about his well-being inside of Miami-Dade County Public School, this school, but in addition to that, his parents are also teachers in Miami-Dade County schools. We're hearing some emotional speech from over here on the podium. Let's listen in one more time. This again, another student leader.
Made me furious. Finding out that a 19-year-old was able to buy a semi-automatic weapon and accessories to make it fully automatic made me livid. Knowing that lawmakers had not done much to prevent this makes me infuriated. But after the anger subsided, sadness filled the void. I never knew any of the victims, but one of them was a swimmer, just like me. I could never imagine never competing, never getting to see my teammates and friends again. The lives of the victims were taken by an act of senseless violence that could have been prevented. There were signs, plenty of them. How many people's lives have to be cut short before we realize that laws need to change? Today we are out here to commemorate all the lives that were taken away and to say that we've had enough and that we want to make sure that this never happens again. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Najeli Lasso, and I'm a senior here at iPrep Academy, and I have a piece to share today. Before you are a president, before you are a senator, before you are a representative, before you are a governor, before you are a mayor, you're a human. Humans that were also once young students sitting in a classroom and thinking that school was a safe place. This changed on April 20th, 1999. This changed on April 16th, 2007. This changed on December 14th, 2012. This changed on November 14th, 2017. Americans are desensitized to school shootings because it has sadly become our culture and is recognized as a normality within society. This did not change on February 14th, 2018. I should have cried. Instead, I'm angry. Angry at you. Angry you took Alyssa, 14, Scott, 35, Martin, 14, Nicholas, 17, Aaron, 37, Jamie, 14, Chris, 49, Luke, 15, Kara, 14, Gina, 14, Joaquin, 17, Elena, 14, Meadow, 18, Helena, 17, Alex, 14, Carmen, 16, and Peter, 15. I'm angry.
How about that, guys, for some raw emotion and profound statements from these students who go to iPrep Academy. In fact, that was the second time that the names of the students had been read here. This ceremony actually started with one of the student leaders here reading each name of the victims, and they also held a moment of silence over here. But this has been a very impressive morning. Certainly, we heard the Superintendent Carvalho come out here and speak, but this speech over here and these talks have been dominated by these students, as we said, ranging in age from elementary school to high school, with some of the most profound comments coming from, his name is Max. He's in 6th grade, talked about his safety and well-being inside the school, as well as his 2 parent teachers. These kids now urging leaders up in Washington and Tallahassee to do something specifically with respect to gun safety. We'll keep tabs on this one. We'll check on with you a little later. Let's send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Steve, thank you. And we want to take you here to these live pictures at Cypress Bay High School in Weston. Arlene Borenstein was just there reporting that those students that were taking place in that walkout are now on their way back to class.
Yeah, much more to come here on NBC 6. We're going to see you in 20 minutes for our midday newscast at 11 o'clock. Our team of reporters with much more on this, plus on the NBC 6 app and on NBC6.com. Thank you for being with us for this special report on National School Walkout here, and we'll see you here at 11.